Hi there, it's Dale Lena here. I have not done a video for a little while, and I've just been a bit lazy about it, I suppose. Here I am. It's a Friday night. I'm just having a Friday night at home, which is kind of normal for me. And I've just been watching some cycling on TV, and then some MotoGP, which is something I also really enjoy. And also, I've been getting into watching other YouTube video people, cyclists who record themselves and do vlogs. There's a couple of English women, Juliet Elliott and Katie Kookaburra, who do some fantastic vlogs, which I've become slightly addicted to recently, just because they're super exuberant people that go out riding a lot. And this is my post lockdown update, I suppose. Let's call it a mini update. I'm going to do, I meant to do more categorized sort of videos where I, talked about various topics of being trans and things. And I will get to that. I've just been a bit kind of busy living and not wanting to do so many videos. And to be absolutely honest, in my post-lockdown world, I'm not wearing makeup as much. This is the evening, so I shaved this morning, so my face might look a little bit grayer because I'm still the hair is slightly coming back because I haven't been able to laser for a long time. Another lockdown fun fact. And I'm just a bit more relaxed about it, though, to be honest with you. Things are still changing. I'm going to do a little bit of a trans update really quickly. So trans update. And physically, I've actually noticed a lot of change in the last month. I've been exercising quite a bit because I've had the time and the inclination to go out in summer and do lots and lots of cycling around London, which during lockdown, when it was quiet, was fantastic, good fun, and there were no cars and it was super quiet. Just there wasn't much noise. It was really, you could hear the birds when you were cycling around the streets and things. It was really strange. So I kind of have been feeling quite good, but also I've just passed my 18 months on HRT, and that would make a full year of blocking my testosterone as well. So it really seems like the last month in particular, I'm noticing body changes more. They've been happening gradually, but my shoulders and my arms have gotten, you probably can't really tell here, but they've gotten much slimmer. So they're not quite so, they're still quite, I suppose there's still a bit of muscle there, but to me, they're much, much slimmer. And if I go running, the shadow that I see on the ground is like a different shape through here, particularly. And my legs have really turned into kind of lady legs. And I'm really happy about that. It's quite noticeable as well that it's happening quite quickly just recently, because when I do go cycling, it took me a few rides to kind of get fit and feel strong again and be able to kind of sprint around and go up hills and things at a good speed. And then if I took like a week off and then got back into it, I really noticed a drop in my performance. And I think it's because in that week, my leg muscles are actually still shrinking down. So I'm kind of dropping further down than you would by just stopping. I'm actually going a little bit lower down and then having to kind of get my fitness back up again, which you can absolutely do by training. So that's been, it's been really fun. It's really affirming as a trans woman just to feel my body is still changing. It's highly addictive, HRT, not the physically taking it, but just feeling the changes and getting closer and closer to some version of yourself that you want to be. And it kind of keeps reaffirming who you are and who as you feel. And I was commenting to someone else on Instagram just yesterday, actually, who was having a bit of a bad day, that you're going to have ups and downs, but after a while the person you were before is so different. I sometimes think let me start from the top. They were having a bad day and they were feeling like life was easier before they came out as trans, and I think that could be true. It's simpler, like your day-to-day life is easier. As a man, you can navigate through the world in a very easy manner through the privilege of being male. But over time, through HRT and changes and presenting as yourself and just being yourself, it gets easier. But not so much easier to navigate, because it's tricky to navigate sometimes. But the person you were and the person you are now become a bit detached. Like, it's now, I understand myself enough and enjoy who I am more now, so much more. And I do remember how much I didn't like who I was before, or how I felt, and the noise in my head of feeling trans but not being able to tell anyone and things. The you know the There's a disconnect now between that person, because I don't think I could go back now, even if I kind of wanted to. It just doesn't make any. It doesn't even compute now. It's really interesting. So I think after a time, you just slowly become the person you are. And I think that's just a function of time, possibly, that we're always doing this in our lives. We're kind of navigating forwards, and there's always a version of looking back and kind of going, in whatever version it might be. And in the trans, it's quite particular, because I think it's undeniable that I'm happier and a more engaged person now, and so I think there are difficulties in being trans and navigating through the world. It's undeniable. At times it's frustrating, but I will accept those for the benefits that I know I have, and that's great. And I was kind of just passing that on to this other trans woman, and who's early on in their HRT, so they're just having some bad days, and they will, it happens. So yeah, that's what else. Okay, yeah, it's Friday, as I said already, and this is the end of my first week back at work after quite a long time. I began to do the TV show I'm currently working on in February, and it was when I came back from my holiday in New Zealand, and I was expecting to have had this holiday after doing my facial surgery and get back to work and save some money again, because I basically spent it all on my facial surgery and a holiday back in New Zealand with my family, and all of a sudden we have the virus, so that kind of screwed things up a bit. And so it's been quite a while. It wasn't just the 5 months of lockdown for me. It's been since November that I haven't been filming something. So I managed to get about 2 weeks pay out of the job in February, March, and that was wonderful. They didn't actually have to do that. We hadn't quite started, but they paid out a bit of the money that we would have gotten had we begun. So I really appreciated it. That it made a big difference. And I've been selling bits of pieces of some of my filming equipment that I have personally that I know I don't really use as much, and it's just been sitting around. So I've actually managed to do reasonably well selling that stuff on and just clearing space, and that's better in a lot of ways. It recoups some money, not as much as the things cost, but that's okay. But it also cleared space and clutter, and those things are also really useful too. So that's been good, and I've managed to just kind of survive on that, and various support systems that are out there for businesses in the UK and things too. But this week I've been prepping the show again. So from Monday just gone, I'm full-time again, working remotely. Well, sort of doing this, but with my director that I've been working with, and we've been talking over Zoom and trying to get Google Hangouts to work, but it didn't actually work quite as well as Zoom, so we're just sticking with Zoom. And going through the script together and looking at photographs of locations and using Google Earth to plan drone shots and things like that. So that's been really good. It's been really nice to get that part of my brain working again. It's been some time, and I do enjoy it. It's nice to actually confirm that I do enjoy my job, and the career that I pursued throughout a good chunk of my life is actually something I quite like. Good, that's handy. I'll just keep doing that then. So yeah, what other news have I got at the moment? Yeah, so enjoying work, happy to be back doing it. It's going to be tough when we're working on set because we're going to be wearing masks and things like that, and that's a bit of a trick. I'll be working with some new people, and being trans, that's always a bit of a thing. It's been super hot in the UK for the last week, but it's now gone back down to like 23, 24 during the day, which is pretty bearable and very pleasant. And so when I start filming this next show, it's going to be mid-September, so that's not going to be such an issue, the heat. So it won't be quite so uncomfortable wearing a mask all day, and we're going to have to be working around each other and trying to create space and cheat shots so that the lead actors are here, and the background extras look like they're closer than they are, and things like that. So we're going to do lots of cheating. There'll be lots of times where I put a camera kind of like this. If I had a camera like this with an actor talking to another actor over here, but I would be operating this camera remotely. So I might be standing in another room with a remote control system, and my camera is on a gimbal, a Movi Pro. And then I can either use hand wheels, which are essentially based on the gunner's control in the Second World War, and they're kind of like on a boat and they're spinning or on land, and they've got those big artillery guns. They go. That's kind of exactly the same controls, and they just make smooth operating. They're quite fun because it's quite coordinated. Or I can make it look handheld. I've got a PlayStation style device with a monitor that basically records the movement of the monitor and then puts it onto the camera, so then the camera does the same wiggles, and that's a really nice way to make it look like it's on my shoulder, but I could be in another room, and that way I'm not breathing on the actor and the actor's not breathing on me, so which is a bit of an issue. So we it's going to be a really interesting time to film something. It's like a lot more work on top of the already quite busy work that we do in the film industry for no more pay or anything like that. But as you know, we're all really happy to get back to our jobs, so we're being slightly taken advantage of our good graces there, maybe. So maybe in the future, if this becomes the norm, if COVID goes on for quite a long time, I imagine people might start saying, hey, maybe you want to give us some extra money for the 20% more work we're probably doing on top of it, and the more difficult situations and work practices to be able to do it. But no complaints. I'm super happy to be able to film something again and make some new TV shows and some movies and things. Excited. I got asked quite nicely to shoot a Netflix show, quite a big one. But I'm busy doing this other one, so I couldn't accept it, which is a bit of a shame because it would have been pretty cool. But with a couple, a particularly big hunky star with blonde hair, if that's any sort of clue, and that would have been nice to do, but never mind. So yeah, I'm back to work, so that's great. Okay, I'm starting to ramble again. I tend to just rabbit on, blah 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 blah, but I'm kind of had to kind of make myself sit down and do a video just because I've been a bit slack and I've been doing other things. But lastly, I'm just going to say that it's been wonderful living in kind of this part of London again. Now that lockdown's finished, it's really just so noisy. It's just like every night this week when it's been hot too, people have been outside yelling and screaming at each other and, having fun, having conversations and things, but they seem to do it at the top of their voices. And it's been super hard to sleep. And if it's not people out this side of the flat where my windows are, it's next door down 2 houses. There's a younger flat, and my other housemate, he's had to have his windows open because it's been so hot at night. It's been 28 at night, and they'll keep him up there. So neither of us have been able to win. So I've had probably 20 hours sleep this week because it's just really difficult to get to sleep and keep getting woken up by things. But yeah, I've been enjoying it, and I'm enjoying where I like where I live, but I'm getting a bit sick of it, to be honest with you. It's really urban, and the lockdown was like a glimpse of kind of a simpler life, of a garden and cooking more for myself, exercising more in the time off that I had, outdoors, like going and cycling loads and things. And I've sort of fallen back in love with cycling, which was my first main sport when I was a teenager. I was a fencer for a little while, and then I kind of switched to cycling and really just totally fell in love with it and the whole world of it, and the racing, and the kit and the technology and the feeling of it when you're fit and you're cycling and you can rip along the road and climb up a hill is just one of the greatest feelings I think I know. And I've really fallen back in love with that, and so I've fall in love with watching these great vlogs from these other cyclists who are out there. And I've suddenly noticed there's these fantastic women who are not pro cyclists. They're doing the vlogging professionally, which is really cool. They're being supported, but they are people who really like cycling and like the adventure and traveling around and jumping in the car and going up to Dartmoor and riding around on a gravel bike or a mountain bike or a road bike, going up to the Yorkshire Dales and trying to see if they can get up some of the hills and things. And it's really made me kind of go, wow, maybe I should be doing that. And it makes me think I'm going to do a bit more cycling and maybe try and record one of these videos as I go riding, and maybe this channel will become a bit of a trans cyclist video channel. I don't know. I'll just give that a go and see if I enjoy it. I lose interest sometimes in filming things outside of work because I film so much stuff at work. But it might be quite fun, but it has made me think maybe I should be renting a flat somewhere in some pretty seaside town or hillside town that's not London, and maybe forego this fantastic urban lifestyle that we have, to be able to jump on my bicycle and just hit the country roads straight away and go running through trees more easily, and in a kind of a healthier life in some ways. I'm kind of tempted to do that. So that's been in my head lately. That said, one of the great things that has been in my part of London, which is quite unusual, is you can actually swim. You can take a dip, should I say, in a part of the Lee River in Hackney, in the Hackney marshes, and I've done that twice this week. I've just jumped on my street bike, and ridden up in my shorts and my bikini top and t-shirt, and then jumped into the water and then just ridden home again, and just to cool down because it's been so darn hot. And that's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, it's quite a cool city that you've got all these things that you can do in London, and you can still jump in a river, which I do love. That's my favourite place to go swim, unless it's a surf beach. So yeah, that's kind of life at the moment. Not so much trans stuff this time. But I will talk more about trans issues as I go on. I've actually got notes that I've been building up of different categories and things about what it's like to be trans, and what I've found it to be like, because everyone's journey is quite different, and it has its ups and downs. And some days I feel like I'm the transiest trans that's ever transed, and then other days I just feel kind of like it's just me, and it's not really relevant. And yeah, that's just life, I suppose. And but I'm still not a single regret about doing it. Got my hair lighter the other day, which I really like. It looks, I mean, it's looking a bit messy because I've been watching TV and just like pulling it out slowly at the back, because it's just something to do with your hands. And but I've been really happy that it's a bit, I like the blonder kind of slightly cooler look to it. It's I think it'll blend quite nicely when my otherwise grey hair grows out. So yeah, that's me, Dale Elena, for now. Thanks for watching, if you have indeed been watching this far into the video, and I'll try and do some more videos soon, and who knows, maybe it'll be from my bicycle, or somewhere else, or maybe the Hackney marshes where I go for a swim if it gets warm again. That might be it. That might be summer over, but because that's often the way it is in the UK. But I'm really happy if you are watching the video and enjoy it. Please leave a comment if you have anything you want to learn about. If there's something I can help with, if you're trans or just curious about someone who is trans and want to know more about it, please just pop me a question, and that gives me something to chat to you about as well. So hope everyone's great and doing best they can in unusual circumstances. And Black Lives Matter still, and Black trans women's lives matter still, and let's hear it for trans rights and life in general. So hope you're all great, and thanks for watching. Bye.